Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. First and foremost, just want to say a big thank you to all the friends of the channel. Anybody who supports us in whatever way you do, whether it's just viewing and enjoying the content, or commenting on the videos. If you subscribe, and even better. Um, you know, second thing is that I just wanted to apologise for the lateness of this video. I did want to get this done for Wednesday, and unfortunately, my time is just really tight at the moment. I don't seem to have enough hours in the day to get everything done. And if you have commented on any of the previous videos and I haven't quite replied yet, I will do it the weekend. I'll go for everything and see which ones I've missed and what have you. But yeah, and we will still do a video at the weekend. I'll still get something out on Sunday, I would have thought. There was a few group builds I want to promote. I was going to try and do that in this video, but I'm really up against it. I just want to get this thing finished and the video up tonight, and we're already past 6 o'clock, so it's going to be a late one for me, I think. But bearing in mind I have to drive across the city still to upload these videos. I can imagine it's going to be half 8, 9 o'clock by the time we get this one done, but. Yeah, that being said, we've moved it on quite a bit since there was a lot more even than I thought to do on this one. A lot of finicky fitting and making everything go together like it should do. But yeah, we'll start off with the interior. This is the third time I painted this interior. I did it in a couple of different shades of red in craft paint, and nothing really looks right with the bodies. So ended up just painting it in the base colour. We just gave it a satin finish just to take the gloss down off it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it just looks like a standard 60s Lincoln Continental interior, and that's really how I wanted to keep it. I didn't want it looking flashy or anything. I had to, with us painting the metallic, I had to take all the pleating off the dash and the parcel shelves. But it does look better with this car anyway. Without all that kind of stuff on. It was venturing into a little bit too custom for me, and I really do. I wanted it custom, but not custom, if you know what I mean. Yeah, we painted the TV screens. You can barely see them down there, to be quite honest with you. But we got the AMT in there. We did put a bit of clear plastic over the screens as well to give it a bit of depth. But we just flocked in the carpet as well, and then did the parcel shelf in maroon flocking. But yeah, it just. Like I say, all it is a shortened Lincoln Continental interior sub with a bit of work on the sides to make it fit snug into the body and what have you. But I think that's turned out quite well. For the gear lever, we just made like an aviation style lever on it rather than I was going to do like a push button thing, but it would have just got hidden or looked off center on that center console we put in. But I think everything looks well on that. I think I'm going to be happy with that finally. We did a bit of chrome foiling round and what have you, just to pick out some of them trims you get in the Lincoln. But yeah, I think that looks pretty smart now. So third time lucky we got there. So the chassis, we just detail painted that as usual. We'd already done the base in the oxide red and the black. And by the way, when I do these I'm not trying to be factory correct, because there's nothing factory correct at all to my builds, to be quite fair. I just do it this way just because it adds a little bit of something, and I don't really want to get into weathering chassis. The rest of the car, most of my stuff, it's all kind of all bright and shiny stuff, and when I even do mild weathering on the chassis, annoys me to be quite honest when everything else is sparkly. So yeah, so we just picked out the frame rails in a wash down gloss black. The reason I washed it down is just, I did want a bit of the red shining through on the insides and what have you. Again, you can't really pick any of that up, but yeah, that's just picked out all by hand. We did the exhaust in a gunmetal or aluminium, sorry. But yeah, that turned out quite nice, to be quite honest with you. We've already got the faux screws in the front of the base, because obviously we've mounted the core supports to the chassis. But yeah, I got the wheels re-chromed, got some nicer tyres, some than the ones I was using on the mock-ups. Yeah, the wheels came out nice after a bit of a re-chrome. Engine, I did want to put a little bit of something into this, like, we just gave it some basic detail in. The engine's roughly the same colour as the body, but it's just over a grey primer, so it's a little bit darker. I didn't want it exactly matching, otherwise I would have painted it red, based up in red like I did with the chassis, but I just wanted a bit of a darker tone. And I did make an air cleaner for it. I did want an emblem at first, like an AMC emblem on the car, but like I said in the last video, I couldn't find one small enough, and it would have broke up the lines anyway, no matter where I put it. So yeah, I thought, because it's like an AMC generic box art, we'll work the AMC logo in, so I just worked that into an air cleaner. I think I started off with like a late model thing, which went down in a total V, but I cut off the end, and then we added a bit of trim round there, a bit of the evergreen trim, and then just chromed that up. Stuck some evergreen trim around the where I was going to put the AMT logo. Didn't chrome that. I didn't want anything contrasting with the shape of which I put in there, which is obviously to mimic the front and rear end of the car, the styling on the car. Then we just popped an AMT decal underneath there, and then just put a bit of clear plastic over it, just to add a little bit of something else to it. Just some very basic wiring, ignition wiring. I don't go to town at all on these, to be quite honest with you. I nearly didn't bother at all with it, because it's like I say, I've had a fair few hours on it today, and I just really wanted to get it done, so nearly skipped that stage. But we've done it now, so it's only an extra half an hour or something, and I'd already wasted half my day anyway mucking about with other stuff. So yeah, got the grill ready to go in. I did have to cut a bit off the bottom and reshape the sides a little bit to make it fit. We just I didn't black wash it. I just used black craft paint. Black wash would, because it's a completely chrome part, the black wash would have just run off everywhere, and it wouldn't have looked any good. So we just used craft paint, and then wipes it off with a cotton bud. But yeah, we just painted the back of that, and that we've reshaped all the underneath of it and what have you, so it does fit into the front end a little bit more. Still haven't seen what this looks like on the car. When I made it, it wouldn't stay on in place. I could just get it to hold it where it's gonna be glued. So yeah, I haven't seen what that looks like on the car. I've still got to find a couple of tail lights for the rear panel. I haven't even got that far yet, but I know I've got loads of them custom Lincoln Continental tail lights. I think it will take me 5-10 minutes after this video to find them. But yeah, we've I mean, we'll go into the body a little bit more on the next clip. But we've got all the headliner painted red and blacked out all the rest of the body. Just you can't see anything underneath in any of the gaps or anything. You know, like I said a million times, it just annoys the hell out of me when I've done something and then I can see a bit of bare plastic or something underneath. So firewall we just took out of the Lincoln Continental. The glass I had absolutely no intention of making myself, but I went through 2 sets of glass. I always like to trim them, and I've trimmed them all down, both sets, and what I was finding, I don't know if it's just something with these Galaxy glasses, every time I was polishing it, they were coming up with, like, it was almost like picking out any stress fractures in the glass. I could have got away with it, but I would have known it was there, so I ended up just making my own, which was an absolute chew, and that's pretty much why it's a late build. But yeah, we got the foil on. I just wanted I went with the toned down matte chrome or matte aluminium or something, whatever that's called, that stuff, and because I just didn't want it too bright on the car, to be quite fair. So yeah, we got everything trimmed up, and like I say, we'll find the tail lights, and in the next clip we can glue the rear bumper on and see what it looks like all together. But you know, I think obviously I've polished that now, cleared and polished it after I foiled it. Still got the lights to take off the tree, and we'll get them glued in. But yeah, I think yeah, I'll definitely be happy to get this one done. It has been a very challenging build, this one, and you know, trying to make a good job for it on it. Sorry, but I'll spend the next hour getting this all put together, and we'll see what it looks like. You know, I haven't seen what it looks like, to be fair. I've not seen it with the grill on. I've not seen it with the lights on, or the rear bumper on, or all together properly in paint. So all I can say is I hope I've done that box art justice, because you know, it's always been, like I say, I think it's a very well known iconic sort of picture for us guys in the hobbies. Yeah, like I say, I'll just throw everything together, or yeah, put everything together the best I can, and yeah, we'll see how it turns out. So we will see you in a second. See you, bye. Right, well, I did try my very, very hardest to make that a Friday evening video, but by the time I'd finished, it was gone 8 o'clock, to be quite honest with you. I started filming, and bearing in mind I have to edit, and it'd probably take me 20 minutes to film it and then edit it and then travel across the city to upload it. It would have just been too late. Plus, when I started filming, it was getting dusk, and the light wasn't great. I mean, I've got pretty decent lighting in here, but you know, what shines through the window does make a massive difference in these videos. But it gave me a bit of an opportunity as well to correct a few things I wasn't too happy with. The ride height being one of them. When I had to pin the chassis down, it tucks up the front wheels again. Made it sit far too low for my taste. I mean, it almost took the look away from it, which I wanted. A bit like that 70 Plymouth, you know. I went back and corrected the ride height on that one, and I've done the same this morning. So it did give me a bit of breathing space. You know, I admitted defeat, and it has just given me a little bit of time to refine a few things. I mean, in the last clip you would have seen it would have looked like it was just putting the chassis in the interior and gluing it together. But with these custom builds, and no matter how much time I've spent, you know, mocking it up and trying to make everything fit. There's certain things when you're putting it together, like the firewall needed a bit of an adjustment, and the battery wouldn't sit where it was supposed to. But yeah, I mean, I think now I've had that bit of extra time, I think I'm much more happy with it now. It's one which I don't have to revisit, and again, I would have had to have gone back to it after I'd filmed the final video and done something else on it. So, I think, like I say, turned out pretty well in the end. I'm my own worst critic. I don't think it's perfect by any means, but I've tried my very best on this one. I think the paint turned out quite nice. You can't really see the metallic or pearl. It just, that bright red shines through it quite well, like I wanted to get that colour. I don't think it's a mile off the box art, to be quite fair, to be the colour wise, and certainly I think the overall shape of it works well. I am handling it gingerly at the moment. We'll take it off this. This turntable for now. But yeah, I mean, I think when you think what we started with the main body is it's a Lincoln Continental, and we've done a lot. We've had to shorten that body, and it's still actually longer than the Lincoln. Not by far, by about, I think it's got a couple of mil on the end, but that's because we've extended that trunk lid, and hence why I felt it was so important to close up the wheelbase on it. But the front end's looking pretty nice, like the box art. I mean, I think we've got that pretty much sorted now. Even though I'm just mucking about with the hood, but yeah, we did have to, like I say, we had to trim a little bit off the bottom of that front grille to match the box art. I think, if you were to build the 63 Mercury, which this came with, obviously you haven't got a rolled front edge to the hood. So that with the rolled front edge, it brings down the hood a lot lower. And so yeah, we've had to. We took literally one bar off and just reshaped it so it matches the V shape in there. But yeah, it's a bit weird seeing it all come together. I really, even at the start, there was no plan, and I think that's what's made it difficult with this one, because if you're trying to replicate a car or something, you usually got numerous pictures and what have you, and there's only one picture of this, and it does make you wonder. I can guarantee that the artist, that wouldn't have been the only proposal they put to AMC for the box art. So I'm assuming there would have been other pictures, but it would have been interesting to see how the original artist did the rear end. But I think it looks all right, to be quite honest with you. I think the rear bumper looks all right on there. Like I say, I probably would have done it without the rear bumper, but like I say, it's on the box art, so we had to do something. And we got kind of the rear end matching the front end. We did what we could to put a V in there somehow, and that was the only real space with what I'd already done. You could see them custom 65 Continental tail lights just under the bumper in that recess. But I think that answers the age-old question, which nobody's ever asked, is what happens if you combine two Fords, what do you end up with? And I think 100% that whole body style, especially from the side, that's 100% Chrysler. It does make me wonder whether that artist was a part of the Chrysler design team, because your front ends, you're very much like the 63 Chrysler 300, just with the headlamps in a different position, in the canted position. But from that side, from that view, I would say that is 100% sort of 63 to, 65, 66 Chrysler 300. Got a bit of Imperial in there, I think, and towards the rear quarter panels, that's very similar to like the 6.7 Plymouths and Chryslers, the way it slopes down. And I think, I think the keeping the Lincoln boot lid, I know it's a bit of a controversial kind of look, because you got this huge trunk lid, and we probably added a scale foot into the original Lincoln trunk lid. The part I used, it just sloped down and it looked really like a Cadillac Eldorado, and I didn't like that look, so I thought cutting off the rear of that Lincoln trunk lid and fitting it to there, I think it works really well, to be quite honest with you. And I think it just keeps that origin of the Lincoln in there, and I think that's a pretty big statement piece to keep as well. It's quite domineering on the rear end, but it clearly shows its origin, so to speak. But yeah, like I say, it's there's still things setting on it, to be quite honest, even this morning. So like I say, we just re-glued the front wheels in a more stock position. It's weird to see it even from that side. We've only ever seen this from one side, really, on the box art. But yeah, I think it's come out well, and back to the Chrysler thing. I was not sure what these wheels came from, but I thought I'd find out for the final video. And I knew I'd seen them somewhere, and I knew they'd be 63 vintage, and once I started looking through the few annuals I've got from 63, I got the 63 Imperial and Chrysler Imperial, and that's what the wheels are from if you're looking for them. That's so yeah, it really does tie in with that Chrysler look, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, the engine, would take the hood off there but yeah, the engine looks all right, to be quite fair. Like I say, I didn't really want to go to town on that too much, to be fair. But I think I just wanted to add a little bit of something to tie in the overall design into the engine bay, and I didn't want a custom looking model, so to speak. I wanted it to look more like it was a car made in the 60s, hence why we've kept the stock ride height, so to speak, and we've put a pretty much a 95% stock Continental interior in that. But yeah, I think I was thinking about it last night, and it's actually the 60th anniversary of this box art as well, so yeah, I didn't even think of that before. But I think if AMC had bought this out as a 60th anniversary, did a design, I think they would have sold a few. But because even through building it, I thought this would look so good in so many different colours. Like maybe a classic white, like ivory white on the top and black on the sides, going down onto the lower valances and lower pans and what have you. But yeah, I think this would have looked good in any colour, but obviously we had to keep it red. And I was back and forward on the colour, what it should be. Is it different light reflections making a dark car look lighter with or is it a light car with darker shadows? And again, it's just, the whole thing's just been up to personal interpretation. So but I think what we've ended up with, I don't think it's far off, to be quite honest with you. It's hard to get the same kind of angle as the box art, but yeah, I don't think we've done a bad job on that. It's certainly been, I would say it's definitely been the most challenging build I've ever done, just for the you know, you just want to do a good job, don't you? When you do something like that, you do something like this, you don't want to, and especially when you're doing it on YouTube for whoever watches them. You know, you don't really want to cut corners to some extent. And again, it's not perfect. It's definitely not perfect. You know, it's my building style is you know, is far out sort of. You know, it's older than me. You know, this is the kind of thing people were building in the 60s, I would have thought. And you know, it's a shame I never got to learn to cast resin. Because I think I'm missing a trick on some of these, like, you know, to cast that out of resin. You know, I think I'd probably sell a few, like, but it's too late in my life to even consider that, and it'll just bring the fun out of actually building stuff. So, and you know, people like me, we're gonna become redundant before too long. You know, with the age of 3D printing and what have you. You know, it's yeah, people like me who spend hours modifying a body, you know, where you could probably get, I mean, not particularly this one, but, you know, I'm sure you can pretty much do whatever you want in 3D print now, but I think I'll always be somebody who likes to create something out of styrene regardless. Don't get me wrong, I've got my eye on a few 3D printed stuff. I've noticed a chap from the Ukraine selling a lot of stuff, and he's got the 68 Ford Galaxy 4-door, and that's going to save me. That'll save me converting a really rare old kit into a 4-door and chopping up one of the 70 Interceptors, which haven't even got the right roof really. So, you know, I will be buying one of them because I want to build a 68 Ford custom, not necessarily the Galaxy. You know, it'd be low end kind of stuff. You know, that's the kind of stuff I like. I don't really do the high end stuff really. You know, it's all base model stuff for me. But so what I'll do is I'm just gonna throw this on the turntable and close the video off. And then I'll put some pictures at the end of the video for to have a look at. But you know, I think that's I can finally say that one's done. And in a way, I'm really glad I didn't finish it last. Well, I did finish it last night, but I didn't film it because I think what I've done this morning's just finished it off to be a nicer model. So yeah, if you just bear with me 5 more minutes, we'll put it in the light box, which is far too small for these, and we will close the video off and wish you the best of the weekend. Right then, well, that being said, yeah, I thought I'd just pop it in here, and then, like as always, when we finish these, just to see it in a bit of a better light, so to speak. But you know, it's like I say, it's been definitely been a long one, and I am glad to get this project finished. I think we've just squeezed it in there within the 4 weeks I kind of set myself, and you know, I'm not putting them deadlines on for YouTube. It's more for myself, just because you know I get really bored with projects, and yeah, hence why I'd never have 2 different projects on the bench at any time. You know, I'll do double builds if it's the same kit and I want to use the parts and I can build them together and what have you. But you know, I'm not somebody who can start a project and then put it aside and then put something else on the bench which is completely different, because I'll 100% never get the other project finished. So yeah, that's like I say, that's the only reason I set them deadlines. And you know, I think I'm glad I've got it done, and I'm glad it's another one of them projects I thought I've had in my mind for many years. And you know, it's another one ticked off the box. You know, I think we've done 3 or 4 of them kind of projects. You know, they've been a long time coming, and certainly wasn't expecting to do them in the first 5 months of the channel. In all fairness, I think some of the builds I have done, I thought I wouldn't even tackle for a couple of years because they are quite big and quite time demanding and what have you. But like I say, we're having just in here, it just gives you a bit of a better angle, to see the full lines. Like I say, 100% that just looks like a Chrysler product to me, completely. Just with a few extra little touches in there, but custom front and rear end. But I think overall we've kept the proportions well. The way we've moved the wheelbase around and what have you. I was just trying to get a bit of a different angle, but yeah, I think with everything we've done has worked well on it, and there are easier ways to do this project, to be quite honest with you, but it depends kind of what you're after with the finished build. And like I say, if you wanted the easiest option, if you find them parts, just use the 64 Mercury. You're gonna have a lot easier time. You're not gonna have to put a roof on and rescribe doors or rescribe boot lids and stuff. But for me, I kind of knew in my mind what I needed to do with this one. And yeah, I think the Lincoln was a little bit controversial at first as the best option. But I think once we started moving the wheel wells about and taking them 4 doors off, as you can see, it's kind of worked well for this build. And I think I wouldn't have done something which would have looked as good using the Mercury, to be quite honest with you. I think it's a very custom build, but it's very custom build, but I think we've kept it looking like something which could have come off the production lines in the early to mid 60s, and that was the whole way I wanted to do it. I didn't want it looking like a heavily customized model or anything like that. And even the front stance, when I was looking at it last night, just having that front end right down completely ruined the whole look. So it was just picking out them little bits and pieces. And I am really happy with it now. I think if I'd filmed that video last night, I was completely at the end of my tether. Like I said, the few things which I wasn't happy with, that probably would have reflected in the video. And whereas, like I say, sometimes it's just best to call it quits for the night and regroup and start again in the morning like we have done now. So, well, I mean, all of you have followed this build from the start. Thank you ever so much, and I really do hope it's come up to expectations. And we've kept it looking relatively like the box art. I mean, I don't think we're far off, but yeah, just a big thank you to those who have watched it and enjoyed the series. And I did have another big project in mind for the next build, but I really needed some decals making for that, and I can't find anybody currently who'll make the decals. I didn't honestly. I thought it wouldn't have been a massive problem, but apparently it is. But yeah, I mean, we'll what I'll do is I'll have a look on the shells in next day, and I'll still try and get another video up tomorrow regardless. It's this one's late, but if I can get another one out Sunday, whether it's just letting you know what we're doing for the next project, or if I'm just looking for a few parts. I've said to Adam at Sodak Model Cars that I'll go through some of my parts, and I do have a few boxes which I haven't sorted of 60s parts we need to look through. And if that's something that you're interested, it'll be a bit like that resin parts video I did, just looking through a box of parts and seeing what we know and what we don't know, and asking you guys if you know what they are. So But regardless, yeah, I'll get something sorted for tomorrow. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna. This will be ready to shove in a drawer now, like the rest of them. So, but again, whatever you do, thanks for your patience with this one. Again, I know it's late, but you know, and thanks for your continuing support from everybody. So, you know, whatever you're doing for the weekend, please have a lovely time. I'm hoping the weather's as nice as it is in York today for you all. But you know, enjoy your weekend, and we will see you in the next video. Okay, see you, bye.